Hey, what's cracking, everybody? I know I'm running a little bit late here today, but that's all good. We're just I got a little delayed with my COVID test here over at DirecTV Studios, getting ready for the Fantasy Zone here on DirecTV channel 704. So yeah, man, I appreciate you guys jumping into the chat. I see I got some questions already, which is cool, man. Hey, Clark, appreciate you, man. Fantasy Freaks and Geeks, what's up? Fantasy Freaks and Geeks unite, baby. Let's go. I'm excited about week 4. If you guys can't tell, man, I'm jacked, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. But let's do this thing. Um, Tyrell Walden, Corey Davis or Mike Davis? Corey Davis or Mike Davis, full PPR. Corey Davis, and I think that's an easy one. I think it's Corey Davis by a mile. Tennessee's defense, especially their secondary, has been bad this year, man. It's been bad, bad, bad. And Mike Davis, his snap share is slowly but surely getting taken away by Cordero Patterson, who I don't know if you guys watch these Falcon games, man. Patterson looks like the much, 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 much better back, the more explosive back, and all that stuff, man. So yeah, no, I'm all about Corey Davis in this particular matchup. And yeah, man, listen, guys. If you guys have any start streak questions, obviously throw them my way. And if not, I wanted to share some of my weekly matchup data with you guys as well. I got a ton, and I thought I might just kind of unload on some of them, man. So there you go. This is from Ken Tran. Darnold or Tannehill? You know what's funny? I just because of the injuries, I think you go Darnold in that situation. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a matchup against the Jets for Tennessee, and I know that's pretty enticing. But can I say this? The Jets defense actually hasn't been as bad as you would think. Last year, they were an absolute train wreck. This year, they've actually been playing pretty well. Their offense has done them absolutely no favors whatsoever. But overall, you know, they've actually been a hell of a lot better than you would think. And then Darnold's got Dallas, and I know it's at Dallas, but I think that's fine. Carolina's been playing pretty good football. And the fact that J.C. Horn actually goes on IR, I actually wonder if that helps the fantasy production for Carolina because they're going to be forced into a few more shootouts. You know, their defense has been so good. Their defense has been so nasty and so good that I don't think Darnold and the guys have really had to do that much. And I think just with the pass catching options that they got there, I'm all in. I'm actually all in on Darnold against Dallas's defense. Like as long as he stays away from the side of the field from Diggs, like I think he's good. So yeah, so there you go. Oh, I love this question here from Jeffrey. Unrelated, not unrelated, bro. I'm all about it, dude. Do you think Detroit covers the spread? I have not looked at the most recent spread data, but I have. Hold on, I have it here somewhere. I got it here somewhere. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I got it here, y'all. Just hang with me. I got it. I promise you, I got it. I checked this on Wednesday. Okay, so on Wednesday, the Detroit Lions spread was Chicago -3. You know what's funny? I not only do I think they cover, I think covering is the smart call. I think the cover is the smart call. I would have. Who is going to be surprised? Who here would be surprised? Honestly, who here would be surprised if Detroit just outright wins that game? Chicago looks like they've absolutely given up on Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy himself is an idiot, and I wouldn't be surprised. You know, and here's the thing: Detroit's actually been playing tough, man. They've been playing tough. Remember, it took a historic field goal. It took an absolute historic field goal for Baltimore to win that game last week. I'm looking around for my coffee. This is how much I want to do this thing. Oh, here it is. Thank God. I was like, I just want you guys to know I passed on Starbucks today to get the shitty house coffee. That's how much I was like, hey, you know what? We're doing this for the fans, baby. We're gonna do this for the fans. I'm gonna pass on the Starbucks and get shitty house coffee. It's all good. Um, Detroit gonna eat those kneecaps. 100%, bro. 100%, man. I don't know what the deal is with this table, by the way. I'm not enjoying it at all, but that's okay. Yeah, man, they're gonna be eating those kneecaps all day long, man. I don't know what's going on with Chicago. I don't know what Matt Nagy is thinking. He has a free pass if he wants it. Here's the thing, like they just have to not look like absolute dog shit. And Matt Nagy has a pass this year. It's like, oh, we got a rookie quarterback. Just pin it on that, right? It's like the only way you get fired from this situation is doing what he's doing, not giving him any first team reps, not changing the game plan, and then trying to yank him in and out of the lineup. Like, man, bro. Like, I wasn't expecting a Super Bowl run or anything, but like, tell me this team's not built. Tell me this team's not built for a good playoff run. Good solid defense. I know they've got some holes there, here and there, but it's like, what defense doesn't? But I think overall they got a good defense. And they've got, decent skill position play. You got Allen Robinson. People love Darnell Mooney. David Montgomery's not the worst running back in the whole world. Like, what's going on out here? It's so bad. They look like an absolute the two worst teams in the NFL. I think Detroit's look better than Chicago. Honestly, I think Detroit's look better than Chicago. Detroit's at least got some fight, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, kneecaps and dirt coffee, breakfast of champions, bro. Like, yeah, that's what it is, bro. Ben, I got you, bro. Trey Sermon or Allen Robinson half PPR. Oh, man, I can't believe this is a thing. We can't we cannot trust Chicago at all. This dovetails into my last conversation. We can't trust Chicago at all, can we? Trey Sermon, meanwhile, takes on Seattle, and Seattle's given up the most fantasy points per game to the running back position. Although, can I say, I originally loved Trey Sermon. I did, but then I take a closer look at some of the numbers, and I'm kind of like, I'm not that sure. And hold on, let me pull it up for you guys. All right, so here's the thing. Dallas has given up, Seattle has given up the most fantasy points per game, right? And we know this. And you're thinking, okay, this is a great matchup. They've only given up, I want to say only, but 4.35 yards per carry to opposing running backs, which is not as bad as you would think. Like everyone else in the top 10 most generous to fantasy quarterbacks has given up like, close to 5 yards a carry. And then in particular, when I look at what they do against the outside runs, and obviously if Trey Sermon is going to get loose, if San Francisco's run, offense is going to get loose, you want to see, what do teams do defending the outside runs? Because outside zone concepts obviously are a staple in that San Francisco offense, and if they can't get off going outside, they can't get off. And Seattle has only given up 3.54 yards per carry, 10th best mark in the NFL against outside runs. Now, it is true they have given up a lot of fantasy points on outside carries, but but you got to understand though, like they saw Indianapolis week 1. Say whatever you want about Jonathan Taylor, but he's a good player, right? And they want to run the ball extensively. They saw Tennessee and Derrick Henry week 2, and then they saw Dalvin Cook week 3. For them to do what they're doing defensively is actually not that bad. Like I get that they've given up the most quote unquote fantasy points per game. But I think just from like a matchup standpoint, like let's be real, like Trey Sermon's not those guys. Right? Like I like Trey Sermon. I came in, advocating Trey Sermon, especially in those middle rounds, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not, Dalvin Cook. He's not Derrick Henry. And Seattle, like I said, against outside runs, actually has been pretty good. 10th best in the NFL, 3.54 yards per carry. So I think Sermon is in a good spot. I think he's in a good spot, man. But and I would play him over Allen Robinson, given what we just talked about with Chicago. But I'm not expecting a huge game from Trey. Let me just say that. All right, we'll move on. Good morning, Co. What's his name here? Ikeka? Badua? I hope man. If I butchered that, my bad, bro. Hope you're doing well. Are you worried about Jalen Ramsey on Hopkins and who is the best wide receiver to play in Arizona versus LA? You know, it's been really weird about Jalen Ramsey, and I don't know if this is going to hold true. Have you guys been watching Jalen Ramsey? Has been playing primarily out of the slot, which is so weird. And I don't know if that's like a schematic thing or what's going on with that, but it's an odd one to me. We know he travels and he'll travel a lot. I think he will travel with Nuke Hopkins. Um, and the thing is that Nuke only plays on one side of the football field, so he's not going to have to travel far. So I think he will try to lock down that side. Am I worried about it? I'm a little bit less worried about Jalen Ramsey than I am about the ribs for Nuke. You know, Nuke's target share has not been great, and I attribute some of that to the injury. I attribute some of that to the fact that sorry, getting emails here, but some of that to the fact that like guys like Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, in company, AJ Green. How about AJ Green coming alive there in week number 3? I just attribute some of that to those guys being in that offense and Arizona having to, you know, spread the ball around a little bit more, a little bit more. So Nuke is not going to, you know, get the 15, 16 targets that, you know, he was seeing last year. But I would say that I think he's a start. I think you could play him with some, you know, decent confidence, man, because, you know, again, when push comes to shove and Arizona needs to score points, where do they go? They go to Nuke. Where does Kyler go? Kyler goes to Nuke. And regardless of whether or not Jalen Ramsey is on him or not, I'm gonna trust in volume. And the matchup's not great. The matchup's awful. But I'm gonna trust in the volume. You know, I'm gonna trust in those air yards. I'm gonna trust in the overall target share. And I would go Nuke there. So am I a little bit worried? Yeah, I'm a little bit worried, man. But you know what? If you're asking me who is the best wide receiver to play, who's the best wide receiver to play in Arizona versus LA, specifically Arizona? It's still Nuke Hopkins. In that game, it's Cooper Kupp, bro. Cooper Kupp's been going. Oh my god, he's the number one scoring fantasy, you know, asset in the entire game, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Clark, you need 3 of 4 in PPR. Mike Davis, Corey Davis, Singletary, Allen Robinson. Ooh. Well, you want to play Corey Davis, and I think of that group, you're definitely playing Allen Robinson, right? So you got 2. Now you're just trying to pick between Mike Davis and Devin Singletary. Wow, man. What do I got, man? Let me just go check my notes here real quick. I think that's a toss-up to me. I think both are pretty volatile players. Um, if you're chasing game script, traditional game script, right? Like Buffalo is a double-digit favorite against Houston, so you're thinking, okay, well, the running backs will get some work. Unfortunately, I think what we have seen going even into last year is even if Buffalo does have a lead, I don't think they care about running the ball. I think they'll continue to throw it, and maybe a couple Josh Allen keepers or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm not 100%. Um, by the way, Vikings running back Dalvin Cook says he is playing against the Browns. He was coming in questionable, did practice a little bit all week, so expect Dalvin Cook out there. But yeah, man, I'm not in love with Devin Singletary, but I still kind of think because first of all, Buffalo is anticipated to score the most points this week. Um, I think he's at least exposed to a lot more touchdown upside than you might find with Mike Davis there in Atlanta taking on Washington. So yeah, so there you go. By the way, man, if you guys are watching, man, like I would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to the channel. Honestly, I'm trying to do this every single week for y'all. But I want to make sure it's kind of sort of worth my time too, right? Like I want to make sure that the folks are kind of tuning in and everything. Like it's cool. Like I see like 20 folks or whatever in the chat, which is great. But it's like, hey, listen, I'd love to see more. You know what I mean? So if you guys would subscribe to the channel, man, and like if you guys go through my channel too, like there's some fun shit in there. That would be dope, man. So like that's been cool. Hey, yo, you've been subbed. I appreciate that, man. I do. All right. Let's see, just bought low on Jonathan Taylor, pick 3, non PPR. Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott. No, my gosh. Are you in a 10-team league, dog? How do you have this running back group? How do you have Jonathan Taylor, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Gibson, and Najee Harris? How do you have it? That's crazy. Um, I think Jonathan Taylor's a must start against Miami. Miami's been giving up a bunch of fantasy points to the running back position. Yep, 10 team, yes sir. There you go. I think Jonathan Taylor's an absolute must start. Um, Zeke's a tough one for me. Zeke is a tough one for me because Carolina's given up the fewest fantasy points per game to the running back position. But man, Zeke is still a good player. I know his overall volume is a little down. They're trying to work in other backs. Um, Man, this one's a tough one. This one's a tough one. You know what, man? I'm going to go ahead and sit down. Ooh. I'm debating between Antonio Gibson against Atlanta, who, by the way, a little tougher than advertised against the run. And then Najee Harris. Pittsburgh's offense looks like dog water. But Najee saw 19 targets, no Chase Claypool, so that does actually help increase at least potential targets here for Najee Harris. Do I sit Antonio Gibson, who came up a little dinged up, a little late with that shin injury? I know he's going to play, or at least they say he's going to play. All the reports indicate that he's going to be good to go. You know what? Sit down Gibson of that group, man. That's tough. That's really, really tough. But I would say sit down Gibson of that group. Yeah, man. Um, what did I do? What did I do with your last name? Badua? I got the last name. Cool. First name. Ikaika. Yeah, I probably just messed that up. It's cool, man. Ken Tran, Robert Woods, or Robbie Anderson? Who should I trade for in You should trade for Robert Woods. Robbie Anderson's at best the third option, maybe. By the way, I don't understand all the hand wringing on Robert Woods. Like, he's fine. I mean, you didn't draft him to be a wide receiver one, I don't think, right? Like, I get that he had three catches for 33, but like 6 targets, 9 targets, 4 targets, and like in two of the 3 games, he didn't do that great. In week 1, he had a touchdown. In week 2, he had 5 catches for 64. Added in another 6 yards on the ground. Man, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm confused. Like, what are we expecting from Robert Woods? Were you all expecting top 12 production? Like, he's given you. I get it. Like, in week 3, it was bad. You wanted more. Tampa Bay's giving up the most fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. You're thinking, okay, Robert Woods in a good spot. But he's still, in my opinion, I think the secondary option. Now, it just happens to be you look on the other side, and Cooper Kupp's just absolutely balling out of control. But I think Robert Woods has been fine. Robbie Anderson's the guy that I would be, if you're a Robbie Anderson manager. I'd be worried about that 100%. You talk about when Christian McCaffrey comes back, he's like the number 1 option. DJ Moore's the number 2 option. Terrace Marshall is there. What are they going to do with the tight ends? I'm really excited about Tommy Tremble. I'm excited. I get excited about these deep sleepers, guys. I don't know if you guys notice this, but yeah, I would be Ken Tran. I'd be trading for Robert Woods, no doubt, man. Start Henderson over Pollard. Jay Williams, you got to help me out. Is that Jamal Williams? Like, I think you're talking about Jamal Williams, but I'm not 100% sure. Start Henderson over Pollard and Jay Williams this week. I very tentatively say yes. And part of that is that Arizona, well, first of all, it's supposed to be a super high scoring game. And the Rams themselves are projected to score 30.25 points. That's the second highest total, I believe, on the board this week. And again, I checked this on Wednesday in terms of the over-unders and all that. I didn't check on Friday or Saturday. So there you go. But Darrell Henderson is back. It is a great spot for him, and I'll explain why. Arizona's allowed the 5th highest yards per carry average on outside carries, and Darrell Henderson is primarily going to run that ball to the outside. I believe he was like top 10. And first of all, the Rams ran the ball to the outside the most of any team in the NFL last year. I think Minnesota was right there. Kubiak's got that outside zone run scheme, and then San Francisco right there too. And obviously Shanahan's runs a lot of outside zone. But yeah, the Rams run primarily an outside zone concept, and yeah, you're always looking for who's giving up the most yards per carry, the most yards, the most production on outside carries, and Arizona is one of the 5 worst in terms of yards per carry allowed. So I think it's a great spot for Darrell Henderson. How much work will he see? That's where it becomes a little dicey, right? Like, we don't know, is it going to be a 50-50 split? Will the coaching staff be a little gun shy? Will they run Sony Michel out there a little bit more? I do know, man, that it's supposed to be a high scoring game. So I don't feel that bad about starting him. I don't. Jamal will listen. I always say, if you're chasing upside, let's go Darrell Henderson. If you want floor, Jamal Williams is your dude. Like, especially, is this PPR? That's actually a huge question. If it's PPR, like, Jamal Williams gives you some decent floor. That would be my. Oh, see. This is why y'all got to spell this out. Javonte. Okay, that changes the metric entirely, bro. Denver. Let me pull up my Denver notes real quick. Denver is this is a good spot. This is a good spot for Javonte. He's got Tennessee. No, excuse me. Sorry. I'm gonna pull up my notes here. He's got Baltimore, who has actually been surprisingly pliable against running backs. And Denver, I think, is down a bunch of wide receivers, right? So no Judy, no Hamler. It's why I like Deontay Spencer as a deep sleeper. $3,000 on DK, by the way. But Baltimore's actually been decently pliable against the run, and I think they're going to try to go with a more run-heavy game script because they are missing those wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? And I think their defense is so good that they'll be able to keep it in there, decently close. Baltimore's given up surprisingly the seventh most fantasy points per game to the running back position. So now there are some warning signs, like they've only given up 3.07 yards per carry to opposing running backs, which is actually 5th best in the NFL. But certainly, I just think with game script, I like Javonte a little bit. But again, I'll say this: you know what? It changes the metric somewhat, but I will still say Darrell Henderson for the upside, and Javonte if you want a decent floor. Of course, I got to answer this question from my dude DJ Spar, who's my producer, man. PPR going Devontae Parker or Marquez Callaway. Stoked that he had LaVisca on his bench. You couldn't have called that one. That one was crazy. That one was crazy. Ooh. By the way, this report from Shefty, both starting guards for Denver are going to be out. So you know what? Let's go Henderson. Why not? Let's go Henderson. All right, so there you go. I'm going Devontae Parker, man. I think he's played a lot better than I was anticipating this year. Marquez Callaway, it's like that touchdown that he got. How many Jameis prayer balls can he come down? How many Jameis prayer balls can these Saints players come down with, man? Like, it's crazy to me. So yeah, Pablo, my boy Pablo in the chats. What up, dude? Good to see you. Cameron Brate, boom potential with Gronk out. Oh, 100%. 100%. And listen, I tweeted about this, but I'll share this again with you guys. But like, Cam Brate is the next man up. 100% the next man up. He ran 50 routes to OJ Howard's 11 routes, and he's more than doubled OJ Howard's snap share as well. Now, you can make an argument maybe that Cam Brate, better blocker than OJ Howard, maybe possibly. Tampa Bay keeps him in there more as a blocking tight end. It's so funny, man. Like, Gronk's like, oh yeah, they brought me in to block. The man's run the 3rd most routes on the team. Like, stop it, And then maybe they move OJ Howard into that move tight end position. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Cam Brate's going to be out there. I mean, like in those situations, you would like you're rotating Cam Brate in and out, OJ Howard in and out, and if OJ comes in, and then you move him into that move tight end position, you're kind of sort of tipping your hand that it's going to be a pass play. I don't think that's what Bruce Arians wants to do. I think Cam Brate's the better overall tight end in terms of blocking and being able to pass catch, and I don't know. To me, it seems like Brady trusts him too. So yeah, I would go Cam Brate there, man. Like I think he's got. By the way, is this not the week for deep sleepers? Like there's so many major injuries, so many opportunities arising for so many different players. I feel like in Tennessee, like they're down both of their like Nick Westbrook. I'm not gonna even try to say his last name, but Nick Westbrook is like a really good, solid deep sleeper in Tennessee. Why not? Why not? So yeah, man, like Elijah Moore being gone for the Jets, like I think Denzel Mims or Jamison Crowder, like why can't Mims get deep? Why can't he get deep on that team, man? Like I don't know. By the way, if you guys are just joining us, we welcome you in, man. I gotta peace out in like I don't know, probably 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes left in me, guys. But if you guys are not subbed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to the channel, man. Like that would be cool. I really would. Um, Hey, Pablo, man, you're on your way to Green Bay? Oh, yeah. See, that's another one. This is another one. Alan Lazard to be a huge deep threat with no MVS. Bro, by the way, my dude Pablo Iglesias, follow him on Twitter, by the way, too. Um, doing some great reporting out there in the Midwest. But wait, hold up. Let me, here's the thing. Alan Lazard. Okay, so MVS placed on short-term IR. You talk about like an air yards hole, right? Like sometimes you talk about target share, but in this particular case, like I want to talk about air yards. And the reason being is that MVS is seventh in the entire NFL in air yards. Real quick air yards tutorial. If you are at the 50-yard line and you throw to the end zone, and the ball travels 50 yards in the air to the end zone, that's 50 air yards. The reason that's important is because that opens up upside. Because think about it. You could do like 1 yard checkdowns. And yeah, that's cool in PPR, right? But it's really hard. You would have to agree. It's really hard to score touchdowns on these little bubble screens, right? Unless you're near the goal line, but that's different. But like, let's say you're at the 50. You want your wide receivers getting deep shots. You know what I'm saying? Like that opens the door for big time play potential. Now, some players are more, suited to that than other players, and it's a balancing act. You don't want like getting 100 air yards is really good, by the way. Like we know in fantasy, getting 10 targets, like that's the benchmark. Like that's really good. 100 air yards is like that. 100 air yards is about like, like what I would consider to be really, really good air yards. And then and so getting two shots like 50 yards downfield, that's good air yards. Getting two targets, that's bad, right? So for Alan Lazard, like tell me why this dude who's he's floated in between. I think he's played about half his snaps outside, maybe 60% in the slot, 40% outside, something like that. It's like it's very, very split. But if they run Alan Lazard outside and take that MVS flanker spot, he's going to see 5 to 8 targets. He's going to see 70 to 90 air yards. That's a screaming buy. He's 2% rostered right now. He's 2% rostered, Alan Lazard. It doesn't make any sense. Like, guys, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be the number 2 wide receiver. And whatever you think about Alan Lazard, it's like, who cares? Like, he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver in Green Bay playing with Aaron Rodgers. And I think he's going to see anywhere between 5 to 8 targets, 70 to 90 air yards. That puts him square in the wide receiver 2 mix. Like he is right there, top 25 wide receiver in terms of volume, in terms of overall volume. And I'm not saying you need to play him, although I think it's actually a pretty decent matchup against Pittsburgh. But you need a roster the guy. Like him being 2% rostered is outrageous. By the way, games have not kicked off yet. Like you can pick this dude up off the waiver wire for free. MVS on the IR. My guys, like he needs to be rostered in 12-team or deeper leagues. 100%, man. So yeah, no, I agree with Pablo, man. He's saying, hey, he's expecting Lazard to be a huge deep threat. Agreed. Now, long speed's not there. I think MVS ran like a 4.38, sub 4.4. and Alan Lazard ran like a 4.55. Like, and there was talks about like, hey, should Alan Lazard play tight end because he's 6'5" and like almost 230. But I think he's actually pretty decent, bro. I actually think he's decent. So I actually am excited to see what he can do, but he needs to be rostered. In 12 team or deeper leagues, Alan Lazard absolutely 100% needs to be rostered. Um, Marcus Aguilar, Sermon or Hunt, full PPR, Hunt, 100%. I get that. I get the paper matchup. Seattle's giving up the most fantasy points per game. If you're just joining us, I know I went over this, but come on, guys. Like Seattle's seen Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook. Like Sermon's not in that class. Like actually, from from a yards per carry metric and all those things, like actually Seattle's been decent. And I like the matchup. I'm not saying it's bad matchup for Sermon, certainly not, but it's not as great as saying like, oh, they're taking on the team that's giving up the most fantasy points per game to running back. It's not quite that, you know. Kareem Hunt, they're using him and they're using him a lot, man. Like, and he looks. Tell me he doesn't look explosive, boy. Like, I love the way that Kareem Hunt looks right now. So there you go. I would say Kareem Hunt, especially in full PPR, they're throwing to him a little bit, you know. Jamal Gamrawi. I butchered their last name, bro. My bad. My bad too. Daka Russell. You got to go Dak. Christian Kirk or Emmanuel Sanders. You need to go. Hey, listen, y'all. You guys need to play Emmanuel Sanders. You guys need to play Emmanuel Sanders this week. He has seen all the air yards. He's like number 11 in terms of overall air yards. And Houston, they've been getting beat. Over the top, man. Houston's allowed, dude, get this. Houston has allowed a 71% completion rate on deep passes this year. That's the worst in the NFL. How bad is that? That's 16 points higher than number two. Number two is 55%. And again, deep shots, 20 air yards or more downfield. Like, how are you giving up a 71% completion rate? Like, a 71% completion rate, that's like on slants and like screens. That's the kind of completion rate you're giving up. You can't give up 71% over the top. Like, golly. And Sanders is their shot play guy. He has fully surpassed Gabriel Davis at this point. And by the way, I don't want to say I told y'all, but I done told y'all. Like, come on, man. Like, I've been saying Emmanuel Sanders is a really good wide receiver. I love his fit on this offense, and I was fully confident that he was going to come in and be immediately the second best receiver on that team. Now you could say, oh, Cole Beasley, but like Cole Beasley at this point is like almost like a running back. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get his 10 or 12 looks, and they're all going to be like near the line of scrimmage, you know? So, but yeah, I think Sanders absolute must play. And then give me Dak. You know, Dak's just been playing too good. I get that Carolina's defense is really, really good and super scary and all that. You know, the Cowboys are still projected for 27.8 points, 27.75 points technically by Vegas. It's actually tied for the fourth most this week. So even though it's a scary paper matchup, I know Dallas playing at home, which is nice. Carolina down J.C. Horn, top 10 pick. I know they traded for C.J. Henderson or whatever, who was also a top 10 pick in 2020, but who cares? I think Horn absolutely transformed that defense. So I think the secondary, by the way, secondary was a huge area of concern for Carolina last year. That's obviously why they spent the top 10 pick on J.C. Horn. Him going on IR, I think, might open the door a little bit for Dallas. Like, that Carolina front seven is nasty. Shaq Thompson, obviously Brian Burns on the edge. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how you sit Dak at this point. So that would be my deal. Good sleeper tight end today. You know what? I actually think Robert Tunyon's actually a solid play. And Cam Brate, I think, you know, again, with Rob Gronkowski, I don't know, man. They're saying he might come back week 6. So with fractured ribs or whatever. They didn't put him on IR, so they can't. They must not think it's that bad. But I think Cam Brate is a really really good play. Is a really good sleeper play. So yeah, Marcus Aguilar, man, I don't have a podcast. You missed me on NFL Fantasy. Hey, listen, I missed that show. I missed that podcast, especially though. Like, I loved the show. The show was fine, and I loved working with Adam Rink on that particular show. But man, the podcast, I thought the podcast was something special. And like real talk, but like they completely effed that situation. Um, I don't know. It was weird. Like that's a weird situation to me, right? Like podcasts were on the come up, but then at the same time, and we were the fastest growing podcast over at NFL Media, and we were kicking ass and taking names, man. And for some reason, they decided to just scrap it all. Well, I don't really understand why. I was like, they just let everybody go. They were like, yeah, it's cool. Like Matt Harmon, you can go to Yahoo. It's cool. Like, what? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? You got to keep Matt Harmon. You got to keep him in house. He's homegrown talent, boy. Like, you got to keep him in house. Like they let go of Matt Franchise. Matt Franchise went to EA. I'm like, no, y'all got to keep Franchise. He's the heart and soul. Like, how funny was that dude? And obviously they let me go, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't really understand. Like we had something special going there. We had something special going, but they decided to let it go. But no, I don't have a podcast, man. Um, I try to do this every single Sunday. And man, if you guys would subscribe to the YouTube channel, I would really, I would appreciate that. I really would, man. That would be really, really cool. So yeah, Robyn, Robyn, I recognize you from Twitter. It's all good. Good morning, dude. Zach Moss or Myles Gaskin? Let me just say this. I think Zach Moss I think he gives you a little bit higher upside. I think Gaskin is the floor play, but I think Zach Moss, again, Buffalo expected to score the most points this weekend, exposes you to really, really good touchdown upside with Zach Moss, and I think he's been running really well too. And so he's my upside play of that group. I think Myles Gaskin, who is the clear starter in Miami, although it's still, like he only sees 55, 60% of the snaps. I would say Gaskin is the floor play in that group. I got to get going, guys, but let me just try to rip through a bunch of these. Tyrell Walden, Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields. Oh God, give me Kirk Cousins because I don't trust Matt Nagy in Chicago. What else do we got? Anything else? Are we on the Chester Rogers hype train yet? No. Mike Rex, Zach Moss or Jamal Williams, full PPR. Full PPR, give me Jamal Williams. Give me Jamal Williams in that ball game. I don't love it. I just got done saying Zach Moss is the upside play, and I still think that's the case. But man, tell me why doesn't Jamal Williams have that similar upside, especially in PPR? You know what I'm saying? Like Chicago, their D line is good, but again, I just wonder if they've completely given up on Matt Nagy, man. I don't know. Trust Olin Moy, trust Allen Robinson or Jacoby Myers, PPR. By the way, guys, I got like literally 2 minutes. If you guys got questions, throw them out right now. Trust Allen Robinson or Jacoby Myers. I'm trusting Jacoby Myers, and I'll explain why. Hold on, I got this. Oh, I got this. Tampa Bay's given the most fantasy points per game they've given up the most fantasy points per game to wide receivers, which makes it seem like Jacoby's a nice play, but actually they've given up the most fantasy points per game to outside wide receivers. Actually, Nelson Aguilar I have written down as a really, really strong start in this matchup tonight on Sunday Night Football. But, you know what? This note that I did write down for Jacoby Myers? He has seen 151 career targets, 104 career receptions. He has 0 receiving touchdowns. At some point, can we get some positive regression for Jacoby Myers? Maybe it comes this week against Tampa Bay. But I do actually like Jacoby Myers in this ball game. All right, guys. Hey, y'all, I got to run, man. I appreciate everybody kind of jumping into the chats with me. But again, if you guys haven't subscribed, please do. Like, that would be very much appreciated. But I will see you guys on DirecTV, channel 704, Fantasy Zone. If you guys don't have it, get it. You guys get all my crazy skits. If you guys aren't following me on Twitter, follow me there at James Deco. I do share all my crazy, bits and stuff on YouTube as well. And just sign up for those subscriptions, man. So yeah, man. If you guys could sub to the channel, check out some of my skits on the channel as well. Like, subscribe, comment on the videos. That would help me a lot too. So yeah, man. Anyways, I appreciate everybody. We will see you guys next week. I'm gonna do this every week. I swear. I'm gonna see you guys next week. Peace.